we are going to be talking about aldehydes. So throughout our life and on planet Earth, we have organic compounds, and today our functional group is going to be an aldehyde. Aldehydes are organic. I picked aldehydes as my functional group because they're my favorite. There are many key interesting factors that can really help you remember what an aldehyde is. Right off the bat, you can see a face holding his nose. Aldehydes are known for being very pungent odors, smelly, but they have a lot of use. Not only are they have bad odors, they also have really good odors as the molecule grows in size. So before I get into naming and physical properties, let's talk about how to identify an aldehyde. So if you are in chemistry and you're doing an equation, you can identify an aldehyde by the hydrogen attached to the carbonyl group. So as we know this, we can add this into our naming. So naming an aldehyde is, like I said before, is basically adding in hydrogen to the carbonyl group on one side of the molecule. When we do add this hydrogen, we're going to be changing the name with the suffix al. So we can easily draw this out. Let me give you guys an equation. We can do butane. Butane simply is 1, 2, 3, 4 with this oxygen and the hydrogen. So instead of butane, because we have this hydrogen here, we know we're going to not call this butane, we're going to call this butanol. Butanol. Simple, right? We can scroll down here and we see this molecule. We see a hydrogen, we see a benzene ring. We simply know this is going to be cinnamaldehyde. And I have a good image here that shows naming an aldehyde. Drop the E, change the suffix to Al. Boom. Now you know how to name an aldehyde. Some physical properties of aldehydes. They can boil at room temperature. Methanol, also known as formaldehyde, can boil at negative 19 degrees Celsius. Ethanol can boil at plus 21 degrees at room temperature. In aldehydes, they have very polar molecules. Another physical property is they can be a gas at room temperature. The polarity of the carbonyl group strongly affects the physical properties of aldehydes. For example, acetaldehyde boils at room temperature, and a very popular gas, like I said, formaldehyde is a gas under the same condition. They're polar molecules. So let's get into some of the structure. The structure of an aldehyde is very important, like I said before, because of the size of the molecule will dictate the smell of an odor or how strong it is. So the smaller the molecule, the more unpleasant the odors can be. This is, like I said before, a key factor in remembering an aldehyde. So a common form of aldehyde is formaldehyde. It's a simple molecule. It's a colorless gas at room temperature, but it has many uses. It's an antiseptic and it's a disinfectant. It's used for preserving. So let's get into some reactions with our aldehydes here. If we were to mix this molecule with water, we are going to yield a very beautiful molecule. This molecule, I don't know if we went over this in chemistry, but I found this very interesting. This molecule is going to be known as a geminal diol. this might be more complex for the beginner, but it's called a gem-diol because of the Latin word for twins. We can see this molecule has two identical, it's balanced on each side, and the atoms are very strong in this reaction. So there's a few of my favorite interesting factors of aldehydes. There's so much more to know. It's also really important to not confuse an aldehyde with a ketone group. So note that while you're learning in your studies, and I hope you enjoyed.